Ladies and gentlemen, the show we've all been waiting for, Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present REP Paranormal and Friends with your hosts, Kim Purvis and Allison Robinson. Live every Thursday night on Spreaker, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Be sure to check out their Facebook page, REP Paranormal Busters.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Do I say hi?
Hey, everybody. No, I had the mute on still. I'm like, I'm jumping the gun, having the week off, you know. Okay, hey everybody, welcome back to REP Paranormal and Friends. We have a special guest tonight. We have TJ Spooks from the Floating Bed Sheet. Welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. It's kind of crazy getting back into the swing because we had a little bit of time off with the holidays and stuff, so...
I hope... Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Oh, you're fine. No worries.
I hope everyone had a great holiday and a happy new year.
Yeah, I hope so too. Excuse me. Had to get a drink. My mouth is really dry today. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So, why don't you go ahead? We have a lot of new faces in chat tonight, so why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
So this is my first interview, so please forgive me if I'm a little bit nervous.
It's okay. I'm nervous.
So I share my own paranormal experiences, and I also share other people's paranormal experiences on my website called The Floating Bed Sheet. And I got the idea for that while listening to, are we allowed to mention other podcasts on here before I say it?
You can, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you guys know of the podcast, and That's Why We Drink.
I haven't heard that one, no,
Oh my god, they're so amazing. But, so I was listening to them, and one of their listeners said, that they were telling a bunch of great stories, but they're like stories that have been told like over and over and over.
Right.
And they asked if they could hear more, like, I don't know how you would say it, like everyday people stories that aren't like just out there. So they gave me the idea to create the website for The Floating Bed Sheet and then start asking people if they'd like to share their stories, so they kind of get a sense of being heard. And then they could like kind of from like my own experience of kind of feeling like a misfit or not really being understood very much. So I kind of like, I know I'm like rambling.
You're fine. You're fine. It's fine. I ramble every show, and you'll see it when you're in chat.
But yeah, it's really that's the idea I had. And so far I've gotten about stories from about 10 different people. Some people will send me more than one story. And I made dedicated days that I post the stories up, which is on Mondays and Thursdays, just in case I got like an overflow of stories from people, and then I didn't want to be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
And just so they know when to expect new stories to be posted on the website, and also on Instagram.
Yes. If you guys haven't yet, he is on Instagram.
That's my home base.
Yep.
Besides the spreadsheet.
Yep, the floating bed sheet. So let's go ahead and talk about some of. You said you've had some of your own experiences. What kind of experiences have you had?
So when I was 19, this was back in 2009. I mentioned this on one of your other live shows. I had come across a shadow person. I was hanging out in our garage one night, and I heard our back screen door slam shut. And of course, I thought it was my sister coming out to see what I was up to, because her and I hung out like all the time. And when I went to look out the window of the car garage door, I didn't see anyone out there. And our driveway was like really lit up. Like, we had floodlights and everything. So there was no like, I have told this to other people and they're like, oh, you just saw somebody's shadow. But I don't know anyone in our family that's like 7 feet tall and kind of floats.
Yeah. That'd
So-
be kind of hard.
The thing was, it's kind of hard to explain because, like, the shadow was, like, flat looking. And it just kind of, like, no motion to it, drifted by between our cars and in between our garage and shed. And, so that was my first encounter with anything paranormal. I kind of just sat in our garage for 2 hours freaking out. And once I got the courage up to run from our garage to our back door of our house after the 2 hours. And if you guys remember when MySpace was a thing.
Oh, yeah. I do.
It was 2009. I immediately got on MySpace on my account, and I just posted what I had just seen. I was like, oh my god, you guys, you're never going to believe this. And, yeah, but I haven't really shared that story too much because I don't want to, like, come off sounding crazy.
Oh, no.
So,
You don't have to.
very select people I'll tell that to. And then, like, I know they'll be like, oh, what? Nuh-uh. You know, like, they'll just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
And, actually, right before we moved to Colorado, so the end of 2017, I saw this little, like, apparition, drift by my bedroom door. And this is kind of embarrassing to admit, but my bedroom door was a sheet at the time.
Yeah, well, hey.
So, you know, I saw a shadow drift by, and I thought it was somebody in the house going into the kitchen. And there's only one way in and out of our kitchen. And I'm just going to say that everyone in my family has lead feet, so you can usually hear when anyone walks by. So I poked my head out to see who it was, and was really surprised when no one was in the kitchen, and nobody was even in the main house. My brother, he worked graveyard shifts at the time, and he hadn't even been home yet. So I had asked everyone about it, and like everyone said they were in bed at like before the time it was. I think it was going on 3 a.m. to say.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that hour, famous.
Yep.
So it was probably like 2:50, 2:55 because like by the time I checked the clock, and I'm like, of course it's going on 3 when I see something like this. But other than that, those are my 2 encounters. Everything else has been kind of like weird dreams. So I'm trying to think of one. I don't know.
Well, I do have a couple of questions. So while you're thinking of one, there's some questions in chat.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can think of one of your dreams while Darren has some questions here.
Okay.
He wants to know, is this like creepypasta?
No. Wait, for my website?
Yeah.
No, my website is like strictly like real paranormal experiences. Like things that people actually went through. Now I do on Instagram. I had like briefly started going on video and reading creepypastas on Instagram for fun.
Yeah.
But that's just because I like creepypastas. But the floating bedsheet is only real experiences that people have had.
Gotcha. Okay, he's got another question.
Okay.
Would you like to see one of your stories on the big screen?
Like on TV?
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be amazing. I actually never thought about that. But yeah, that would be like, that would be really awesome. Like, I'm speechless. Actually, some of my goals are to interview, like, I would really like to actually interview people and, like, ask them about their experiences and stories. I have, discussed with a few people on Instagram about, local people, meeting up with them and just hanging out and asking them questions. A few paranormal investigators, which we did briefly discuss meeting up, and I don't know if that's still happening though. I gotta get back with them and see about that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's see here. We got another question here from Darren. Would you go on paranormal investigations if you had a chance?
I would. Now, I'm not going to lie. It would probably be a big chicken. But I've noticed that it's usually a group of people going on investigations.
Right. Yep.
And that makes me a little less afraid. Mm-hmm. But I'm totally interested in going on investigations with others. Oh, and I do want to say, one place I want to go this year is the Stanley Hotel.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
I know I keep mentioning that on Instagram, but yes. I want to go there.
That would be a really cool place.
It's so close to us. I mean, it's in Colorado, so it's like not in another state or country.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, that would be cool. Let's see. Christopher has a question. Do you think the SB7 is real?
I don't think I've heard of SP7.
The SB7, it's a spirit box. Like, it goes through radio frequencies, and then you ask questions, basically, and then the spirits come through.
Is it the actual spirit box, or is it like the app on the phone?
It's the actual spirit box. It's the actual one.
Mm-hmm. I don't disbelieve it. I don't think it's inaccurate. I think people have caught actual things on them. Mm-hmm. But then there's the whole thing about like electronics and electricity like interfering, and it's a lot of gibberish. So I can't really say, if it's real or not. Mm-hmm. It just, when it like someone asks a specific question and they get the answer that they were looking for, it's just kind of spooky that it's so accurate.
Right.
So I do believe more than I disbelieve.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say I do kind of believe in the EVP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Darren's like, wow, you guys are clear tonight. Maybe because I have headphones on. Usually we sound muffled, or someone's like, I can't hear you, or one of our guests, they said sound like a demon,
That's the show I was on. It wasn't...
it was with Bobby.
Yeah, okay.
We had to restart.
I was like, I can't hear anything, and then it started hearing like, and I was like, what's that?
Yeah, that would be it. Man. Oh,
Great show, by the way.
Huh?
Great show, by the way.
It turned out pretty good after we got our connections, thanks to Shay. She had to run it through her end, but...
I know the one you guys had done, the t-shirt giveaway. I really meant to tune in on that, but it's always like, I'll remember, I'll remember in the morning, and then like, when I remember again, it's already like past the time the show's been on, and I'm like, oh, so I get like caught up doing stuff, and I'm like, I just need to set an alarm clock. Like, hey, the show's about to start.
Yeah, there you go. Shay wants to know, have you ever been on an investigation?
Okay. Not a real one. Okay. When I was 16, mm-hmm. my family and I lived in Phoenix, Arizona. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if anyone's ever heard of, I think it's called Steel Indian Park, but we always called it Indian Steel Park. And it was an old Native American reservation, like mm-hmm. back in, like, I think the late 1800s. Uh-huh. And excuse me, sorry.
Nope.
My best friend at the time and I were at the park, and we're like, the buildings were like all boarded up at this time. We had noticed one of the, like, lower windows, the board had been kind of pried. So, us being 16-year-olds, we got the great idea to come back later that night to go inside the building.
Yep.
Everyone's like, oh, yeah, did you know the buildings there are haunted and all that rumors about the place. And so we went in to the building that night, and we apparently entered the basement, which we didn't know that. I guess it being a lower window, of course it's the basement. But we have seen other people write like the year, and it looked like I don't want to make it sound like they're gang names, but they're like names and then the year. So we tagged our name, which at the time we went by like, not, it wasn't really cool, but we went by Rotten Cheese. I don't know why. Yeah, we went by Rotten Cheese, and we put the year, I think it was like 2005 or something.
Yeah.
So, like, really weird stuff happened while we were inside that building. Like, we were completely freaked out by the time we left. So these stairs you have to walk up to get out of the basement, of course. And we could hear footsteps behind us as we were walking up the stairs. And we turn around and no one's there. And like, it was a big enough staircase, like, they couldn't just, like, run back down, especially without us noticing them. Mm-hmm. And, it ended up being, the auditorium of the old reservation. So we kind of messed around in there with our skateboards, and, it was a 2-story, auditorium, so they had, like, rows of seats on a second floor. Mm-hmm. So we went up those staircases where I could hear whispering in my ear. I can't remember if she did. And then we made it to the rooftop, and she doesn't want to go back in the building. I'm telling her we got to go back home because we're underage teenagers and our parents are going to freak out.
Yeah.
So we make it back down inside, across the auditorium and in, like, the back of the stage, where for some reason there is this giant hole in the ground, like, that's going back down to the basement. Mm-hmm. And her and I are just staring down it instead of leaving. And I'm telling you, the creepiest laugh came up from that hole. She froze in place, and I'm grabbing her arm, telling her, let's go, let's get out of here. And really what snapped her out of it is when I asked her if she wanted to stay here and die. And then she finally, like, started moving, and we jolted out the front doors, which we weren't sure if they were chained shut, and we were going to have to go back into the basement to get out of there, where the laugh came from. And so we got out, and we pretty much, like, dropped to the ground, and we were just so thankful that we got out of the building. So that's pretty much the only investigation that you could say I've been on. I haven't been on any since then, but I would really like to go on another one. That wasn't even a planned investigation.
Yeah.
Well, it was a planned investigation, but not a planned paranormal one. We didn't expect to experience anything. Mm-hmm. So that's my story of Indian Still Park.
Let's see. Darren had some more questions here.
Okay.
How do you feel about psychic mediums?
What do you mean?
Like, what are your thoughts on them? You can say if you want. You don't have to.
Like, do I believe in psychics?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally. Sorry, I'm mumbling. I totally believe in psychics. Like, I know a lot of people will say that everyone has the potential of developing their psychic abilities, and I 100% believe in that. Mm-hmm. Me myself, I can pick up on people's auras. There's this one time I was looking at this guy, and all around him just started glowing like this golden yellow around his body. I don't know what it means. I just know that it was happening. My best friend at the time, I picked up on her aura before, and it was blue. Mm-hmm. Mine is green. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't always happen. It's not like all day, every day. A thing. Majority of the time, it kind of looks just like a mirage. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just kind of like clear looking, unless I really focus on it. And it happens with plants, animals, and other people. Is what I've had experience with. Mm-hmm. And then, like dreams, I really believe that dreams have meanings, especially with the weird, crazy ones that I've experienced.
Yeah.
So I believe that I visited like the spirit plane, and I've just had way too many like encounters where you just know it feels more than just a regular like dream or stress dream.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole thing with like I have no idea what it is. I've looked it up like so much. But like I'm probably gonna sound crazy, but like fire manipulation. Whenever I have candles burning, and this is why I usually show it instead of explaining it. The flames flicker so oddly that you know that it's not burning like a regular candle. So that's only been going on for the past 2 years, the whole candle thing. I've had someone refer to me as an elemental psychic. And so to answer your question, I totally believe in medium psychics. So yes.
Okay. Awesome. With that question, before I go to Darren's, because this one ties into what we were just talking about.
Okay.
Shay wants to know, when you see auras, what do the colors represent to you?
I don't know about most of them. I know that green is supposed to be like you're very caring, like loving. Blue is supposed to be like you're very intellectual, like book smart, and I want to say grounded. I know that if you ever see someone with a like misty, like smoky aura, it's supposed to mean that they have bad intentions and you should stay away from that person. But that's all I really know on the auras.
Well, that's fine. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Then, okay, also tying into that, she wants to know, what's an element psychic? What does that mean to you?
I guess someone that can manipulate the elements. Someone on my Instagram had referred to me as an elemental psychic because the way my candles burn oddly around me. I have no idea what an elemental psychic really is, though. I don't really refer to myself as psychics, but I've had or a psychic. But I've had other people refer to me as a psychic because I don't think I'm experienced enough to be like, I'm a psychic, I can help you out with stuff. Yeah. I'm just like, I've had weird experiences that could be potentially psychic stuff.
Right. Okay, let's see here. Gotta get back to my questions here because some. And Shay says that you're not mumbling, you're doing a better job than she does on her show.
Oh, thank you.
Darren says you're doing a good job too. So.
Oh, thank you guys.
All right, so another question here from Darren. If you had a chance to go anywhere on an investigation, where would it be and why? And I know you kind of talked about Stanley, but I didn't know if there's anything else.
That's like right now, like the most recent. I would like to, I don't know if it's haunted, but I really would love to go visit Salem, Massachusetts, and go visit the Witch Museum. I've always had like a big interest in the museum. I don't know if it's haunted though. There's probably places there that are haunted.
Yeah, you never know. You really never know.
Okay. There's a place called Hell's Gate in Thornton, Colorado. where apparently the dad went crazy and he like killed his kids and like his wife, and there's been a lot of like hangings there on the property. And I don't know if he killed himself, but the house burned down, and I've read that there's a lot of activity there, and the basement is still intact. Like, you can go down there and wander around. And but I've heard that place, only the most like thrill-seeking people will go there, and not even they will go by themselves. Like, it's supposed to be really just a messed up like place. I've had somebody try to talk me into that.
Yeah.
Like, would you go if I go? And at the time I wasn't willing, but I think it's been like almost a year since I've been asked, but I think I would be more willing to go now. But just the stuff I read about that place, and I'm like, it sounds like what's called the gates of hell, so or Hell's Gate.
Yeah.
So
good luck with that one. Okay, let's see. Darren has another question. What are your views about the Amityville horror story? True, not true, or what do you...
The Amityville?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I think they're true.
Yeah.
But, I mean... Like, I don't know why. I think they are true. Probably because I enjoy the story.
Yeah.
But now, like, okay, I have to say, I'm a huge fan of, like, the Warrens.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
Like, and their line of work, and, like, that's my biggest reason why, like, because they did this stuff for a living, and they seemed, like, very passionate about it, and wanting to help others with these problems that they couldn't turn to anyone else for. And so that's probably my main reason why I think it's true, because it was done by the Warrens. And it's hard for me to... I know somebody had messaged me saying that they were, like, con artists and stuff, which I just don't see that, though.
I think we had another one here somewhere. Trying to get through. We have quite a bit of comments going on today in chat.
Yeah.
So,
That's great.
Oh, Darren wants to know if you believe in Bigfoot.
And Bigfoot. I don't disbelieve in him. Like, I believe everything is possible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't really, like, I can't think of the word, but, like, got really into, like, Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't be like, he's not real, like, you're wrong. I mean, I will never go out of my way and tell someone that they're wrong about something that they believe in. But I've had friends that believe in him.
Uh-huh. I'd actually like to go. Just to go out and see. Go investigate for one. Go look
Tell
at
me.
Bigfoot.
Tell me. I was kidding.
Huh?
Oh, like, tell me.
Yeah. I want to do it. I want to go.
I think it would be
There's supposed to be a lot
awesome.
of places around here that are pretty good for it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would go. I would love to go on a search for Bigfoot.
Oh yeah, me too. Just to see.
Yeah, if he's out in Colorado, he's got plenty of woods to
Oh
go
yeah,
to.
you got plenty of places to go look.
Oh, yeah. Look, the Rocky Mountains are, like, right there. Like,
Nice.
what, maybe, like, a 20-minute drive. I mean, I could see them right out my back window.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Christopher put in here that blue aura means spiritual body.
Spiritual body for auras?
Blue. Yeah, blue.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was doing, looking into that about 2 years ago. But, of course, my brain, it's, in and out.
Yeah.
Well, you try to put so much in there, it's it's going to kick all this other stuff out.
Okay, so let's go back and let's talk a little bit about your blog again, about the floating bed sheet.
Okay.
Do you want to give a couple examples of your stories that you have on there, or?
This is why I did the video on my computer. Let me, by examples, what do you mean?
Well, just if you just want to give one of your stories, or what they can find on there, or how they can if they have their own paranormal stories they want to share with you.
Oh, yeah.
Be on your page, how can they do that? Things like that, and what you're looking for, or...
No, I've had people, now, let me first say this. Mm-hmm. If you have a story that you'd like to share, you can send it to thefloatingbedsheet@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. And I do accept everyone's paranormal stories. I've had people ask, is this one, you can post it or don't post it. I just thought you'd like it. Uh-huh. But I'm not very this story is not good enough, I don't want it on my site.
Right.
So if you send me a story, it's going to be 100% chance it's going to be on the floating bed sheet.
Nice.
'Cause I know that not every website is going to be like that, and so I'm just letting people know, if you want to share a story, you don't have to worry about it being approved. Basically, my website is to share your story so you feel like you are heard.
Right, yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'll just share the last person that had shared with me. He shared 3 different stories, and he said that he wants to be referred to as Horton Paranormal. Uh-huh. And one of his stories, now I always title the story Reader's Stories, and then I'll put the person's name, and then I'll put the title that I pick for their story, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this one is Reader's Stories, Horton Paranormal, He Had No Face. And this story, basically him and his friend are walking down the road, and it takes place in Florida, and I think it's Florida Cocoa.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Probably, I think so. I don't know. We'll go with it.
But they're walking down the street, and they notice a guy walking toward them, going the other direction. And when the guy is close enough, they notice that basically he's got all black on, and they notice where his face should have been is just this black empty space. Mm-hmm. And they said, "What's up?" And the guy didn't say anything, and they just said they got really weird feelings, and they turned around to what is it called, double check. Yeah, as soon as they turn around, the guy is not even no longer near them. Like, he went on to say there's no way he could have jumped the fence, or they looked across the road. Like, they basically searched for this guy that had no face.
Oh, jeez.
And they went home and told his parents, and of course his parents didn't believe him, because that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And that's the main reason why I created the floating bed sheet.
Yeah.
Like, you can share your story with people that will believe your story, kind of.
Right. Kind of
So
like
that's one of his
thing.
stories. Yeah. Oh, this one is a really good friend of mine that I made on Instagram. She wants to remain anonymous, but she knows who she is. I told her about the show tonight, but she had to. Well, actually, her daughter is graduating from college, so they're out to dinner. So I told her that she could listen to it when it's posted up later. But she was pregnant with, I think it was her son. And she kept having, like, terrible pains and stuff. She decided to go to sleep early one night. And she woke up to this face, like, staring at her, like, really close to her face.
Oh, wow.
And she said not in a menacing way, but almost as if they were admiring her or watching over her in a peaceful way.
Oh, wow.
So later on, she's going through boxes, and turns out it was her grandma that she had never met or seen pictures of.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And so that one I titled, let me go back to the title. Or I'll just go back. So this is Grandmotherly Spirit is what I titled that one.
Nice, yeah.
So that's some reader stories that have shared with me on my website. And then I don't know why, but for some reason, The Legend of Cropsy, that one was a pretty popular post on Instagram. So I did a story on my website about it.
Oh, cool.
And it's basically about, it's an urban legend of this guy that would go around, like, kidnapping kids and, like, basically being a terrible monster. And then found out that this guy, that it was a true story. There was a guy on Staten Island. I think I'm saying that right. But it was in the 80s, and he was convicted for child abduction, and he basically abducted a kid that was autistic, and he was on trial, or not autistic, I take that back, Down syndrome. But yeah, I'm just rambling now.
You're fine. I do. Like I said, I do that all the time.
But yeah, somehow they found out that he was abducting the kids, and it ended up being a true story, and yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, I don't want to sit here and like read.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
So I'm just gonna summon it up.
Yeah, that's fine. I do have some questions here in chat.
Okay.
Darren wants to know, what's the one object in the world that you never want to be haunted?
The one Oh, I think I've heard this question like elsewhere, and like my thing was, you guys are probably gonna laugh.
What?
But it would have to be my cell phone.
There you go. Okay,
Like I can't go anywhere without my cell phone.
Yeah. Hey, no, I get it. That's like probably like everybody. So Darren needs to add that. He does a tally. He asked that like on like every show, pretty much, and he had like a tally running of different things that people have said. Like Jeff Belanger, he said a toilet plunger.
Oh my!
I remember that one.
Sure. That's good though.
Yeah. Okay, Shay has a question too. She wants to know, where did your name, the floating bed sheet, come from?
Oh my god. Okay. The floating bed sheet. Basically, okay, like, believe it or not, I kind of just pulled it out of my head. Okay, so I was listening to And That's Why We Drink podcast, and I was like, well, people usually have clever names for their podcasts, for their websites, their YouTube, and I came up with the floating bed sheet because basically the classic ghost is nothing more than a bed sheet that floats. So I was like, I really hope people enjoy the name, the floating bed sheet.
Yeah, it is a good one. It is. It is.
Thank you. And then, I was at work and I was telling someone my website's called the Floating Bed Sheet, and then I was like, "Is it bad that sounds kind of sexual?" And I was like, "Hopefully they understand it's a paranormal website."
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Now I do once you said it.
Well, I was like, it's too late now. I've kind of rolled with it.
Yeah. Hey, you might get some more followers if they think you're nice.
Right.
Excuse me. Okay, let's see here. Christopher wants to know if you've ever gotten an EVP.
Like that. Like, have you ever bought one?
No, have you ever like heard one or gotten one on anything? Do you have like a recorder? Have you ever used a recorder or anything? Or
this is gonna sound like I've only ever used the EVP apps, which I like. If you guys ever want to get me some, no, I have never had the chance to use an EVP reader. I would really love to eventually get one. I know you can get them on Amazon, and I think like $20-something. But yeah, on my phone, I don't know about that because you don't ever know if it's just like a prank app, like just messing with you. So I'm gonna have to say no to the EVP reading.
That's fine. Hey, no worries. No worries. Angie says she likes your name. She thinks it's a great name for.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see here. Shay says she thinks toilet is the #1 answer for the haunted object so far. Darren lost count.
Yeah. Toilet? Yeah. I don't think I can have a haunted toilet.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay. Darren has a question. If you come across a full body apparition, who would you want it to be, and what would you say to that apparition?
Okay. So, no. I don't know if I should say that.
Say whatever you want.
Okay. I don't know. Like, I'm thinking of, like, actors and actresses, and then my mind went to, like, the Warrens, because they are both passed away now. I don't know. That's a hard one. Who's recently passed away? I know Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham Lincoln.
Oh,
yes. Yes. I've heard like he passed away in the White House and that he still like haunts the place and stuff and does like I don't know, he just is still, I guess, active in the White House. So yeah, I would like to I don't know what I would ask him. I'd just be like, hey, it's cool seeing you. If I didn't freak out, oh my god, Abraham Lincoln's ghost is in my house or wherever I am.
Let's see here.
Yeah.
I'm just going through here, making sure I didn't miss any questions. We have quite a bit of stuff in chat tonight so far.
I think you got them all.
Man. Chatty Cathy's tonight.
Chatty Cathy's.
Yeah. Which I like because I like that it's active in here.
Can I add to that apparition comment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sarah Osborne and also Ruth Osborne. Apparently, I did some digging in my ancestry or like family tree, and those are two women that I could highly be like related to that were both accused of witchcraft during the Salem witch trials, and Ruth was accused in the 1700s. So I would just ask them, I'd be like, so were you really doing stuff?
Yeah.
I would be like, was it true or not? So I would like to talk to some like my older ancestors.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that would be actually pretty cool, actually. Let's see.
Yeah.
Whoops. My voice wants to go a little bit here. I haven't been feeling the greatest, so let's see.
I'm sorry.
Nope,
I know
all
winter
right.
is so terrible for getting sick.
Nope, it's good. It's all good. Excuse me.
I know in December I had gotten a really bad cold. And then, like, right after getting over the cold, I got a really bad tooth infection that I'm just now, like, getting over. So it's been, like, back to back for me. And that's the biggest reason why I haven't been, like, posting as much on Instagram or been as active, because I've just been totally feeling, like, half dead most days.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah, definitely.
I know you mentioned you watched some of my videos I put up. And I was just like, I'm just letting you guys know I'm still here. I haven't disappeared.
Yeah, every now and then I'll see and stuff, and then I'm like, oh, I haven't seen anything for a while.
Yeah,
no. But yeah, no, and I think it's when you do your live videos, I know you have done a couple where you've read some of the stories, which I think is good because, you know, like you said, some people will rather hear it than have to go through and read it. So
yeah. Which I like listening. Like I like listening to people read stories. My thing is I don't know if I enunciate well enough or like get into character well enough for it to be like entertaining for people to actually want to watch it.
Oh, you should go back to our one where was it Halloween? I think I did one on Halloween where I read some stories, ghost story. Yeah, listen to that one.
Was it? I bet it was good.
Well, I don't know if I don't know. we read some stories, and I don't know what else we got into, but I know I did read some stories, and some of them were kind of cheesy, some of them were kind of gruesome. I was like, what?
Are they like, were they like, made up Halloween stories?
Yeah,
Or
they
like,
were just like little
that's
spooky stories that some of them were for kids and stuff like that. We just found them on the
hey, there's
internet and
nothing
shared
wrong
them.
with that.
Huh?
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I mean,
It was just a Halloween one that we did. We just kind of spur of the moment. We didn't think we were going to do a Halloween one, and then we decided to do it. So I'm like, let's just do this.
yeah. Excuse me.
All right.
I know. All right, go ahead.
You're good. You're good. I'm just trying to get caught up on everything here. Excuse me.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, gosh. Oh.
Maybe I should go get you the wine.
I know, Kim's like, maybe I'll go get you the wine. I can't help, my voice just wants to go. I'm trying to clear it out here a little bit.
I know. I'm over here drinking eggnog.
Oh,
Left
hey,
over from.
go.
Yeah. Look, I opened the fridge this afternoon, and I'm like, we still have eggnog? And I was like, usually that's gone, like, by New Year's. Well, it wasn't that long ago. Okay.
No, excuse me. Dang it. No, we had, my mom she makes homemade eggnog, and it's
Oh my god.
so yummy.
Oh, I bet it is. I've had homemade eggnog only once,
Uh-huh.
and it's so much better than the store-bought. I mean, the store-bought is good, but this homemade eggnog I had was like,
Uh-huh.
I probably could have drank the whole bowl. Oh, she did really good on it.
Alright, so let's see here. Before we wrap things up again here, let's go through here and just one more time if you want to give your information on where they can find you on your social media, where they can look up your blog.
Okay. Yes. If you guys would like to find me on Instagram, it's the Floating Bed Sheet, TJ Spooks, and if you would like to send stories to me, you can send them to thefloatingbedsheet@gmail.com. And I post on Mondays and Thursdays. And yeah, I really look forward to hearing from you guys. I say this a lot in my videos, but I really do like hearing back from you guys. It means a lot. I don't know how to explain it.
No, it's okay.
But I hope to hear from you guys.
Yeah, so make sure you go check out his pages. Go follow him. Let's see here. Before we wrap things up, I'm just going to give shout outs to everybody who was in chat tonight. We had Darren, we had Christopher, we had Lewis, we had Shay, we had Angie. I think I said Christopher. We had Kim, myself,
Yeah.
Jen B in chat. We had Rebecca in chat earlier. Let's see here. I'm scrolling.
Excuse me.
You're good. Was Matt in here earlier?
Yeah, Matt's in there.
Oh, yep, and Matt was in here. So I think I got everybody. If I forgot somebody, I'm sorry. I was trying to scroll through all the comments and questions and everything in chat tonight. Thank you, everybody, for being so active in chat tonight. We appreciate that. Thank you to all our listeners who are not in chat but listening. We still appreciate you, too, as well.
Yes, Mom. Sorry.
Yes, his mom was listening tonight. So thank you, everybody. Next week on our show, we do have Michelle Belanger on. She's been on Paranormal Estate. She's been on Portals to Hell. She's wrote a ton of books.
Oh, nice.
So make sure you stay tuned for that one. It's going to be pretty interesting. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, she's next week.
Yeah,
she's next week. I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, she is next week.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. All right. Let's see here. Thank you, everybody. And my thing just froze. Hang on.
Oh, no.
I'm trying to tell everybody thank you before I shut it down. So, and again, make sure you check out TJ Spooks, Floating Bedsheet. Find him on Instagram.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you very much. Just hang on for 1 second here. And we will...
Thank you for listening to REP Paranormal and Friends. Be sure to check out Kim and Allison on Facebook at REP Paranormal Busters.